Ladies and gentlemen, live from Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. It's Wednesday or Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for AEW Dynamite or Collision Event Center. And now here's the man that will bring you the happenings of AEW All Elite Wrestling action, Mr. Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans, 1977, episode 2181 of the show, and we're 19 episodes away from 2200 episodes of the show. Hope you guys are having a very blessed day. Sorry for starting so late at 2:45 p.m. Friday, April 18, 2025. We had some company over and all that good stuff, and my parents at home because today's Good Friday. It is Good Friday. Basically the day that Jesus Christ died, many over 2,000 years ago. But Easter, or as we call it, Resurrection Sunday, is just 2 days away. So that's what Good Friday is all about. And also, it is WrestleMania weekend. That's right, WrestleMania is almost here. It starts tomorrow actually, and it's about jumping upon us. But there was a lot of wrestling going on over this week, especially. And I do apologize for not able to bring you guys the report. I usually do that after Rant and Rave's over, but Rant and Rave, because of WrestleMania weekend, Rant and Rave's went overtime. And not only that, there were pay-per-view event for TNA right after the TNA show. And I decided to report on that. So I can give you the full report of TNA. But right now, AEW Collision moved to last night because of the fact that the playoffs for hockey has begun. And before you know it, the basketball playoffs will be not far behind. So here we go. The Death Riders. The Death Riders were not in a very good mood after what happened Wednesday night. So this has happened last night in Collision. Marina Shafir attacking a female stagehand. And then John Moxley was not very good. And Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta also wreaking havoc on Collision. And he said, and it's to the point where, John Moxley said that those who celebrated the trio's title win last night, they'll be, enjoy it now because it'll be the last time you'll be celebrating. And then he says he respected Samoa Joe, but he had to challenge Samoa Joe. He's willing to put the AEW title on the line. Samoa Joe is a former champion. And challenge him for Double or Nothing. So that will be... So that could be the matchup. How the Ops are going to respond, we'll find out. Kevin Knight went one-on-one with Lance Archer, the Jet Kevin Knight, and and during the matchup, Don Callis, a.k.a. Hot Dog Head, decided to get involved in the matchup. But despite that, Kevin Knight ended up winning the match. Well, the Ops and Powerhouse Hobbs, the new trios champions. I think Samoa Joe is named Powerhouse Hobbs a member of the Ops. So you got 4 members of the Ops now. And I think having a power guy, and you got an all-around wrestler in Kazuya Shibata, one of the best, meanest submission specialists in Hook, and then you got Samoa Joe, the Samoan submission machine, and you got the power guy, Powerhouse Hobbs. And it looks like Samoa Joe has decided to accept the challenge of John Moxley for the to put the AEW World Title on at Double or Nothing. We'll find out when that match is official. Meanwhile, Tony Schiavone received an apology letter from FTR. Nigel still take the FTR, sarcastically accepted the apology, but Tony Schiavone just threw down the paper. Yeah, he says whatever. So looks like they don't. Despite the fact that Josh Alexander lost the night before, lost to Hangman Adam Page in that men's Owen Hart tournament, Don, and after the attack on Hangman Adam Page, Hangman Adam Page, Josh Alexander helps them out, and he's become an official member of the Don Callis family. Oh, by the way, Moxley said this about the Young Bucks. I don't like you. Stay in your lane. I was like, good. I mean, you know what? I dare the Young Bucks to get in John Moxley's lane because I want to see Moxley just obliterate them. So please, I would love to see that. I would see Moxley behind it up. So that at least I'll respect Moxley for that. Meanwhile, in a tag team matchup, two members of the conglomeration, Tomohiro Ishii, the Stone Pitbull, and Rocky Romero Zuka against Josh Alexander and Konosuke Takeshita. And Takeshita and Alexander did win the matchup, but after the matchup, because there was during the course of the match where Ishii was looking for a tag from Rocky Romero, but then he jumped down, refusing to tag, and then as Rocky Romero helped up Ishii to apologize, a hooded figure was in the ring staring at Ishii. Ishii was like, what's going on? And then Rocky Romero attacked him from behind, and it was none other than the returning Trent Barreto. He has not been seen in months. And then Don Callis handed him a wrench. And then Takeshita and Alexander were holding Ishii, smashed him from behind. And it seems like Roppongi Vice is back together and has joined the Don Callis family. Makes them 10 times stronger. I'll tell you what, with Brian Cage's injury, I think you're going to need some more help for sure. So, all right. I didn't realize what that was. Then, Lexi Nair interviewed Mercedes Moné as she gets ready for a tag match against the team of Chris Statlander and Julia Hart. And Harley Cameron interrupts Moné and tries to do the Moné dance. And I think Harley Cameron's getting under Moné's skin to the point where Moné wants to fight. And I would be very shocked if Harley Cameron cost Moné the Owen Hart tournament. And that could prompt Moné into fighting. I think Harley Cameron is a method to her madness. That's what I'm thinking. Anthony Bowens had a promo montage about being the 5-tool player, and he's now mentored by Billy Gunn once again. TNT title open challenge. Adam Cole of the Paragon is now they're no longer called the Undisputed Kingdom, but the Paragon as he goes up against Claudio Castagnoli, and this was a heck of a matchup. And then Adam Cole ended up winning the matchup, which prompted Claudio Castagnoli, to get really upset. In fact, some of the Death Riders tried to come out and calm him down, and he started flipping the commentator's table. I thought he was going to go after Nigel McGuinness and Tony Schiavone. I was like, don't you dare, Claudio. Don't you even think about it. And so Wheeler Yuta decided to come out and try to calm down. Moxley's yelling at Wheeler Yuta, a.k.a. Crackhead Quantum Ranger. That's what I call Wheeler Yuta now. But Claudio Castagnoli was not in a very good mood. He does not like losing, and believe me. So, Lexi Nair interviewed Brian Keith and Big Bill, and they said, listen, Jericho walked on. I said, well, you haven't called him out. You wouldn't have done that. But then Big Bill kind of like defended his reasoning with Brian Keith. It was like Brian Keith was staying up with. So we'll see what happens in that situation. Renee Paquette interviewed Kevin Knight and Mike Speedball. Actually, hold up. Trios matchup, LFI. That would be the returning Roosh, Dralistico, and the Beast Mordos to going up against KM, LSG, and Rosario Grillo. And LFI ended up winning that matchup. And then Renee Paquette interviewed Kevin Knight and Speedball McBailey as next week they'll be facing the Young Bucks in tag action. And Ricochet interrupts them, complaining about, you guys cost me $400,000. You big baby. You got a hot wife. Be thankful you got married, you dork. Ricochet, can't stand it. Then the Ring of Honor television title on the line, Commander went up against Nick Wayne of the Patriarchy. And Nick Wayne is now in part of the Best of the Super Juniors tournament in New Japan. And Nick Wayne, well, how did he do? Well, he became the youngest title holder in Ring of Honor AEW history as he's defeated Commander to become the new Ring of Honor World Television Champion. And Hologram returns next week, and Top Flight and Layla Gray addresses the crew, saying they'll challenge him to a tag team tornado matchup. The crew, Action and Andretti and Leo Rush, they said, come on, let's get, you want it done? You want it done now? But they started arguing, and security had to separate both teams. Meanwhile, and then remember, this is happening in Boston, ladies and gentlemen. The lovely, gorgeous, and four-time AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm, joined on commentary, has a thing for Chris Statlander. And as Chris Statlander teams with Julia Hart against Mercedes Moné and Harley Cameron. And in that matchup, Julia Hart and Chris Statlander end up winning the matchup. And when the matchup, and Toni Storm decided to applaud Statlander and the other ladies. As you know, Mercedes Moné is in the finals. She'll face the winner of the Statlander Hater matchup, and they'll at Double or Nothing, and that will be the the Women's Owen Hart tournament final. We'll see what happens. Looks like Toni Storm's got a thing for Chris Statlander. You know, she is a beautiful girl, no doubt. Oh, actually, I forgot one more matchup. And I think, I forgot to write down. Megan Bayne defeated Ashley Vox and Rebecca Scott in a handicap match. It seems like Megan Bayne still not in a very good mood, but losing to Timeless Toni Storm. Well, sometimes brawn does not win over... It's brains wins over brawn. I think Toni Storm had the brains. But Megan Bayne's going to have to work on that. She's got the brawn down pat, but she's going to have to study up on Toni Storm. You see, if you can try and find a weak spot in order for her to defeat her and win the AEW Women's World title. But right now, the Timeless one here has that title. So that'll be all the time that we have on the show. Hope you guys are having a very blessed day. Next up will be the TNA report. I'm going to double it up on TNA because we got the pay-per-view of Unbreakable, and the countdown to Unbreakable, then to Unbreakable. So, I will see you guys later. You guys have a wonderful, blessed day, and until the next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and do it for Bob Saget production, and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.